Hello everyone and welcome back to my read-along channel. This is the Story of Tracey Beaker by Jaqueline Wilson. This is all her own work, I'm just reading it for entertainment and pleasure. We're going to continue today with the story. We're on page 37, so let's get going. I'm writing this at midnight. I can't put the light on because Jenny might still be prowling about, and I don't want another ding-dong with her. Thanks very much, I'm making do with a torch, only a battery's going, so there's just this dim little glow, and I can hardly see what I'm doing. I wish I had something to eat. In all those Enid Blyton school stories, they always have midnight feasts. The food sounds a bit weird, sardines and condensed milk, but I could murder a Mars bar right this minute. Imagine a Mars bar as big as this bed. Imagine licking it, gnawing away at a corner, scooping out the soft part with both fists. Imagine the wonderful chocolatey smell. I'm slavering at the thought. Yes, that's what those little marks are on the page. Slavers. I don't cry, I don't ever cry. I act as if I didn't care less than Jelly had a real go at me, and I don't. I think you really do care, Tracy, she said in that silly, sorrowful voice. Deep down, I think you're really very sorry. That's just where you're wrong, I insisted. Come off it now. You must know how you'd feel if your mother had bought you a special present and one of the other kids spoilt it. As she said that, I couldn't help remembering being in the first home, long before the dreaded Auntie Peggy or that mean, hateful, unfair Julie and Ted. My mum came to see me and she bought me this doll, a doll almost as big as me, with long golden curls and a bright blue lacy dress to match her big blue eyes. I'd never liked dolls all that much, but I thought this one was wonderful. I called her Bluebell, and I undressed her down to her frilly white knickers and dressed her up again and brushed her blonde curls and made her blink her big blue eyes. And at night she'd lie in my bed and we'd have these cosy little chats, and she'd tell me that Mum was coming back really soon, probably tomorrow, and okay, that sort of thing makes me want to puke now, but I was just a little then, and I didn't know any better. The house mother let me cut Bluebell all over the place, but she tried to make me give the other kids a go at playing with her. Well, I wasn't going to let that lot maul her about, so of course I didn't let them hold her. But I came unstuck when I started school. You weren't allowed to take toys into school, only on Friday afternoons. I cried and fought, but they wouldn't let me, so I had to start leaving Bluebell at home. I tucked her up in my bed with her eyes closed, pretending she was asleep, and then when I got home from school, I'd charge upstairs into a crummy little dormitory and wake her up with a big hug. Only one day I woke her up and I got a shock of my life. Her eyelids snapped open, but her blue eyes had vanished inside her head. Some rotten lousy pig had given them a good poke. I couldn't stand it, seeing those creepy empty sockets. She stopped being my friend. She just scared me. The house mother took Bluebell to this doll's hospital, and they gave her some new eyes. They were blue too, but not the same bright blue, and they didn't blink properly either. They either got stuck altogether or they flashed up and down all the time, making her look silly and fluttery. But I didn't really care then. She was spoilt. She wasn't the same Bluebell. She didn't talk to me anymore. I never found out which kid had done it. The house mother said it was a mystery, just one of those things. Jenny didn't call it a mystery when Justine went sobbing to her because her silly old Mickey Mouse alarm clock had got broken. Clocks break all the time. It's not as if a really flashy expensive clock. If I'd just been Jenny, I'd have told Justine to stop making such a silly fuss. I'd have stopped up my ears when that sneaky little twerp started going on about me. I bet you know who did it too, Jenny, that Tracey Beaker. Yes, she sneaked on me, and Jenny listened because she came looking for me. She had to look quite a long time. I kind of suspected what was coming, so I cleared off. I didn't try to hide in the house or the garden like those little kids. I'm not that dumb. They can flush you out in 5 minutes no matter where you are. No, I skipped it out the back door and down the road and went for a wander around the town. It was great. Yes, I had the most amazing time. First I went to McDonald's and had a Big Mac and French fries with strawberry milkshake, and then I went to the pictures and saw this really funny film, and I laughed so much I fell out of my seat, And then I went off with this whole crowd of friends to an amusement arcade, and I kept winning the jackpot on the fruit machines. And then we all went off to this party, and I drank a whole bottle of wine, and it was great. It just tasted like lemonade. And this girl there, we made friends, and she asked me if I'd like to stay the night, sharing her twin beds in this fantastic pink and white room. In fact, she said I could stay there permanently if I really wanted. And so I said, no thanks, I'd sooner go back to my crummy old children's home. Of course I didn't say that. Well, she didn't say it either. I sort of made her up, and her party. I didn't go down the amusement arcade, or the pictures, or McDonald's. I would have done, but I couldn't, on account of the fact I ran off with no cash whatsoever. I said I'd tell fibs sometimes. It makes things more interesting. I mean, what's the point of writing what I really did? Which was a loaf about the town feeling more and more fed up. The only thing I could think of to do was to sit in the bus shelter. It got a bit boring. I pretended I was waiting for a bus, and I tried to think of all the places I'd like to go. But that began to depress me because I started thinking about Watford, where my mum said she lived, and last year I got all the right money together, which created a few problems afterwards as I sort of borrowed it without asking. And I sussed out the journey, and I got all these trains and buses and all the rest of it so that I could pay my mum a visit and give her a lovely surprise. Only it was me that got the surprise because she wasn't there, and the people who lived in that house said she moved on about 6 months ago, and now they didn't have a clue where she'd gone now. So it's going to take a bit of an organised searching to find her again. I could catch a different bus every day for the rest of my life and maybe not find her. It's hard when you haven't got a clue where to look. I was still scrunched up in the bus shelter when a familiar white minivan hoved into view. It was Mike, come looking for me. Mike looks after us with Jenny. He isn't half a bore. He doesn't often get cross, but he whinges on about rules and responsibility and a whole lot of other rubbish. So by the time I'd got back to the home, I was sick to death of the subject. But then Jenny came into my bedroom and she started, and she mused, and she assumed it was me that broke Justine's clock, though she had no proof whatsoever. I told her so, and she said just liked picking on me, and it wasn't fair. She said I'd feel better if I owned up to breaking Justine's clock, and then went to say sorry to her. I said she had to be joking. I wasn't the slightest bit sorry, and anyway, I didn't break Justine's rotten clock. That isn't necessarily a fib. I don't absolutely 100% know that I broke it. All right, I did go into her bedroom when she was in the bathroom, and I did pick up the clock to look at it. Well, she's always going on about it because she's got this boring thing about her dad. She makes out that he's so flipping special when he hardly ever comes to see her. The only thing he's ever given her is that stupid tiny old alarm clock. I wanted to look at it to see if it was really so special. Well, it wasn't. I bet he just got it from Woolworths, and it certainly wasn't made very carefully because when I twiddled the knobs to make the little Mickey on the end of the hands go whizzing round and around, he couldn't keep it up for very long. There was this sudden whir and clunk, and then the hand fell off altogether, and Mickey fell too, with his little paws in the air, dead. But he might have been about to take his last gasp anyway. That hand might well have fallen off the next time Justine touched the stupid clock to wind it up. I'm not going to say sorry no matter what. I wish I could get some sleep. I tried counting sheep. I still can't get to sleep, and it's the middle of the night now, and it's rotten, and I keep thinking about my mum. I wish he'd come and get me. I wish anyone would come and get me. Why can't I ever get a good foster family? That Auntie Peggy and Uncle Sid were lousy, but then I could suss them out and tell they were lousy right from the start. Anyone who smacks hard and serves frog spawn for your pudding is certainly not an ideal auntie. But last time when I got fostered by Julie and Ted, I really thought it was all going to work out happily ever after, and that it was my turn to be the golden princess instead of a Rumpelstiltskin. They were great at first, Julie and Ted. That's what I called them right from the start. They didn't want to be prissy auntie and uncle. And Julie said she didn't want me to call her mum because I already had a mum. I thought such a lovely lot of Julie when she said that. She wasn't exactly my idea of a glamorous foster mum. She had this long wispy brown hair and she wore sludge-coloured smocky things and sandals, and Ted looked a bit of a wimp too, with his glasses and his beard and weirdo comfy walking shoes. Not so much hush puppy as shut your face hound dog. But, excuse me guys, sorry. But I thought they were the sort of couple you could really trust. Ha! Because I went to live with them, and I thought we were getting on really great, though they were a bit boringly strict about stuff like sweets and bedtimes and horror videos. But then Julie started to wear bigger smocks than ever and lolled about on the sofa, and Ted got all misty-eyed behind the glasses, and I started to realise that something was up. And so I asked them what it was, and they hedged and pulled faces at each other, and then they looked shifty and told me that everything was fine, and I knew they were lying. Things weren't fine at all. They didn't even have the guts to tell me themselves. They left it to Elaine. She'd only just started to be my social worker then. I've had heaps because they keep moving around and leaving me behind, and I got passed on like a parcel. I wasn't that keen on Elaine in those days. In fact, I was really narked with her because I'd had this man, social worker Terry, before her, and she used to call me Smarty, and he used to give me odd tube of Smarties too, and I felt Elaine was a very poor substitute. I wish I hadn't thought of those Smarties. I wish I had some now. I'm simply starving. I'm sure Elaine marked me down as sulky and non-cooperative in her little notebook. The day she told me about the Julie and the Ted bombshell, I'm sure she scribed Tracey totally gobsmacked, because Julie was having her own baby after years of thinking she couldn't have any kids. I didn't get it at first. So what's the problem, Elaine? I said. Well, be a proper family then. 4 of us instead of 3. Elaine was having difficulties finding the right words. She kept opening her mouth and closing it again, not saying a sausage. You look just like a fish when you do that, did you know? I said cheekily, because my heart was starting to hammer hard against my chest, and I knew that when Elaine eventually got the words out, I wouldn't like the sound of that. The thing is, Tracey, well, Julie and Ted have loved fostering you, and they've got very fond of you. But you see, now they're having their own baby, they feel that they've not really going to be able to cope. Oh, I get it, I said, in this jokey, silly voice. So they're going to give a boring old baby away because they can't cope with it, and keep me, because they had me first, didn't they? Tracey, they're not really going to dump me, are they? They still very much want to keep in touch with you, and so why can't I go on living with them? Look, I'll help all I can. Julie doesn't need to worry. I'll just be like a second mum to this baby. I know all what to do. I can give it its bottle and change its soggy old nappy and thump it on its back to bring it up its wind. I'm dead experienced where babies are concerned. Yes, I know, Tracey, but that's the trouble. You see, when Julie and Ted first fostered you, we did tell them a bit about your background and the trouble you had in your first foster home. You know, when you shut the baby up in the cupboard. That was Steve. And he wasn't a baby. He was a foul little toddler, and he kept mucking up our bedroom. So I tidied him up into the cupboard just for a bit so I could get everything straightened out. And there was the ghost name that got totally out of hand. Oh, that. Those little kids loved that game. I was ever so good at finding the right hiding places, and then I'd start an eerie sort of moan, and then I'd jump out at them wearing this old white sheet. And everyone got scared silly. No, they didn't. They just squealed because they were excited. I was the one who should have been scared, because they were all the little ghostbusters, you see, and I was the poor little ghost. And okay, but the point is, Tracey, it makes it plain in your records that you don't always get on well with little children. That's a whopping great lie. What about Camilla? I looked after her at that children's home, and she loved me. She really did. Yes, I'm sure that's true, Tracey, but well, the thing is, Julie and Ted still feel they don't want to take any chances. They're worried you might feel a bit uncomfortable with the baby in the house, so they're pushing me out. But like I said, they still want to keep in touch with you and maybe take you out for tea sometimes. No way, I said. I don't want to see them ever again. Oh, Tracey, that's silly. That's just cutting off your own nose to spite your face, said Elaine. That's such a daft expression. How on earth would you go about it? It wouldn't half hurt. It hurt a lot leaving Julie and Ted's. They wanted me to stay for a few months, but I couldn't clear out there quick enough. So here I am in this dump. They've tried to see me twice, but I wasn't having any of it. I don't want any visitors. Thanks very much. Apart from my mum. I wonder where she is and why she didn't leave a forwarding address at that last place. And how will she ever get to find me here? Yeah, that's the problem. I bet she's been trying and trying to get hold of me, but she doesn't know where to look. Last time I saw her, I was Auntie Peggy's. I bet Mum's been round Auntie Peggy's, and I bet that silly old smacking machine would tell her where I'd gone. So I bet Mum got really mad with her, and if she found out just how many times that Auntie Peggy smacked me, then well, kapow, splat bang, I bet Mum would really let her have it. I don't half want my mum. I know why I can't sleep. It's because I'm so starving hungry. That's why. Crying always makes me hungry. Not that I've been crying now. I don't ever cry. I think maybe I'll try slipping down the kitchen. Jenny's bound to be fast asleep by now. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And that's where I'm going to stop, guys. It's perfect. I was going to stop on the page before and then I saw the page break. So, yeah. Thanks so much for listening. We are finishing on page 52. I hope you're enjoying the book. This is, as I say all the time, a childhood classic. So it's been really nice rereading it again. But thank you again for listening. And until the next time, guys, goodbye.